Speak like you love yourself. Think like you love yourself. Eat like you love yourself. And care for your natural hair like you love yourself.
Greetings, good people. In today's video, I want to examine and explore food addiction. So food addiction is something that is not widely discussed. It's not discussed widely enough, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because a lot of us are simply eating our way to disease and premature death, and we don't even know it. We have no concept of the fact that the foods that we eat every day, a lot of the foods that we were raised on, grew up on for generations, are in fact what is causing a lot of our preventable disease. So in today's video, I want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into that and give some awareness, bring some awareness to those of us who just had no idea that this is the case and are open to making some positive changes. Now, when we think of food, we don't typically think that one can be addicted to it outside of an obesity situation, right? That's an obvious case of food addiction, even though in the allopathic medicine community, they will argue that it can also be genetic. And I'll touch on genetics as it relates to food addiction and just disease period later in this video. But we typically don't think of food addiction outside of someone who is obese or extremely overweight. But I'm here to tell you that food addiction is definitely what's driving majority of our disease. So as a holistic lifestyle practitioner, as I work more and more with clients on resolving their health issues, and I know this going in, but of course I notice it with some of the clients, like once their issue is resolved after a significant change in their regular diet and lifestyle habits, they go right on back to the foods and the substances that caused them the health condition in the first place. And so my definition, the simple definition of addiction that I roll with is the inability to stop doing something that you know is doing you harm, period. We don't need all of this if, then, but, would, and how many times in a week, month, day, year, to qualify it as an addiction by my barometer. As far as I'm concerned, if you know something is doing you harm and you are unable to sever your relationship with it or change your relationship with it such that it isn't doing you harm, then you, my darling, have an addiction. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about food, a habit, a person, a substance. People seem to think of addiction only when it comes to, drugs, alcohol. But food, everyday foods, can definitely fall into that category. And some of the health conditions that are caused by food addiction, I'm going to run them down here. Let's start with heart disease. Let's start with high cholesterol. Let's start with diabetes. Let's jump on over to gout and travel on down into low testosterone, hormone imbalances. What else? Cancers, unfortunately, even. Obesity, obviously. And so many more. There's the list can continue. Let me see. Experiments in animals and humans show that for some people, the same reward and pleasure centers of the brain that are triggered by addictive drugs, like cocaine and heroin, are also activated by food, especially highly palatable foods rich in sugar, fat, and salt. kidney disease, liver disease, irritable bowel syndrome and dysbiosis, diverticulitis. I mean, the majority of the diseases that a lot of us are battling, especially as we get up in age, are caused by the foods that we're eating. And in holistic natural medicine, of course, our view of cause and in effect and healing is different than in the allopathic medical community. Allopathic medicine treats symptoms, holistic medicine treats the whole entire person and gets to the cause so that healing is actually achieved and accomplished. So these conditions are wholly preventable if you just change your relationship with food. These conditions can be healed if you change your relationship with food. Now, when it comes to genetics and how that factors in, there's a study, a science rather, called epigenetics that looks at how your food, the environment, emotions, stress, and things impact your health. And what has been discovered in this study is that, yes, food can definitely alter the way the genes are expressed. And that is something that is established and set in stone. Well, I won't say set in stone, but established at least 2 generations prior. And so what that means is what your grandparents ate, what your parents ate, have resulted in what has comprised you, what set of diseases, what set of health benefits. I mean, you know, hair color, eye color, all that wonderful stuff. But that's basically what it means. The wonderful thing about nature and how intelligent and intuitive and advanced it is that the cure is also available right alongside the cause in nature. Like, the cause is not in nature. The cause is in all these unnatural things, these dead things, these things that are created by men, and not by the creator of all. That's where the cause is. If you want the cure, you have to look to nature. You have to align to nature, and you have to rid yourself of all of these things that cause your genes to be expressed in a negative and adverse way, so that you are developing disease. That's really the high level overview of it. And so how does one do that? How does one get to a place where they decide that they want to change their relationship with food and actually take charge of their health and their healing? First, in my experience, I'm going to say you have to care. You have to care enough about your own health and this vessel that you've been given to do your life walk in. You have to care enough to want to take care of it, to want to have a high quality of life, to want to give honor to the creator of all, divine, great spirit, God, whatever name you call it, that created you. You have to care. If you don't care, you're not going to make the changes. And if your reason for caring is something superficial or something out to impress someone else, then it's definitely going to be short-lived and temporary, your changes. And so you really got to get to a place where you care about your life, you care about your body, you have value for yourself and reverence for this life that you've been given. Once you decide that you care, once you are in the space of caring, then you would be able to, seek out practices and even maybe professional guidance with someone that can help you change your relationship with food, detox your body, detox your blood, and get on the path to living a life that embodies self-love, that embodies optimal health, that empowers you to heal yourself. I definitely had to get on the path of caring so much that I can be committed to this lifestyle. I've been on and off the lifestyle, on and off the holistic path for about 18 years, y'all. Probably longer at this point. But, yeah, about that. I have been vegetarian. Vegetarians eat eggs and milk. Even though that really isn't an accurate definition of vegetarianism, but it's the more widely accepted one. So I've been vegetarian, I've been pescatarian, I've eaten all the things, I've gone all the way to what some people would call vegan, but I call whole food plant-based because I don't eat any processed foods in my diet. Like it's whole foods, and then if I hand process them myself, that's different. But if it comes in a package, box or bag, 9 times out of 10 I'm not eating it. So whole food plant-based, and then back again all over this time. And what I noticed is, hey, I had a food addiction, right? Like I knew these things weren't good for me, and I continued to return to them. And so what I noticed is when I returned to the food stuff that weren't good for me, is that there would be negative changes in my health. Like I would have eczema problems or yeast infections, or my anemia would worsen. There were even fibroids and womb issues that developed when I would return to these foodstuffs that I knew weren't good for me. And then, of course, since I knew what to do, I would, go on a detox, go on a cleanse, eliminate them, get better, and then, cycle on out again. And so what I do want to offer you about that is, if that's where you are, have some grace for yourself. Be patient with yourself, and never, ever, ever give up on your commitment to keep moving down the path of a healthier lifestyle and embodied self-love. Never give up on that, ever. It's so worth the journey. What I'll also say is that I also noticed that when I would reach for things that weren't good for me, I had people and things around that weren't good for me. And so my energetic vibration, excuse me, I had people and things around that weren't good for me. And so when your energetic vibration is low, whether it's because of the foods that you're eating, or energy that you are receiving from other people, people that are disrespectful to you, people that are unkind, people that belittle you, people that are dismissive to you, people that diminish you and your accomplishments and your contributions. All of those things are negative, and we can absorb them, and they will bring our vibration down. And when our vibration is low, we reach for things that resonate with exactly where we are. And the lower resonance foods are going to be the dead things, the animal fleshes. And fish is an animal, fish is included, the animal fleshes, the dairy products, the cheese and the milk, the dead processed foods, these things that can stay on the shelf for years and years and years with preservatives. They have no life in them. The alcohol is a dead thing. And sugar is very addictive. And so when we're reaching for things that have a lot of processed sugar, like when our energetic resonance is low, we are going to unconsciously seek out things that resonate with exactly where we are. And the flip side of that is also true, right? When we are constantly fueling ourselves with that, or feeding ourselves with that, it keeps our energetic resonance low. And so it feeds our addiction, it feeds our anxiety, it feeds our depression. It feeds our low self-worth and us allowing, these people and situations and things to continue because we're resonating and we're vibrating there. But when we consciously decide to value ourselves more and reach for higher resonance foods, and these are all of the living foods, these are the plants, the beans, the seeds, the nuts, water, right? The fruits, these things that are higher resonance. When we consciously do that, when that is majority of what we're doing, then our energetic resonance is higher. Our level of self-care is higher. Our level of self-worth is raising. And so we no longer have the capacity to allow people to be disrespectful to us, people to mistreat us, people to dismiss us, people to bring negative energy in our space, because we are doing so well at keeping our own vibrations high and taking good care of ourselves that we recognize that the difference. We recognize where we used to be and where we are. And so now we can see it in other people. We can feel it in other people. And we don't entertain it as much as we used to, if at all. Now, I invite you all to explore whether or not your relationship with food is healthy, whether or not you believe you have a food addiction, whether or not you want to even test that you have a food addiction by consciously abstaining and going plant-based for a certain amount of days, or if you have more serious issues, health issues you're looking to resolve, I have offerings for you that I'll leave links to in the description box to support you. But food addiction is real, unfortunately, and the allopathic community is, when I say allopathic community, I'm talking about Western medicine. They're just now getting to a place where they're beginning to recognize it and offer treatments for it outside of an obesity situation, right? But here in holistic ancient medicine, it's all about the higher resonance. It's all about healing thyself. It's all about embodying self-love. It's all about aligning with nature so that your earthside walk can be in honor and reverence to the divine, to the great spirit, to God. And I invite you to explore your relationship with food. Consider changing it if you determine that it's unhealthy, and challenging yourself to embody self-love and take great care of this vessel that you've been given. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it has activated you to explore your relationship with food and begin your walk or go further down your path of embodying true self-love and high value for your health. I'll see y'all on the next one.